10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
All systems go.
You're listening to Sudbury News Talk.
I want to show you something.
Stand by.
On the morning shift.
Anything
Could happen.
Sudbury News Talk on the morning shift.
Good morning and welcome to Sudbury News Talk on the Morning Shift. I'm AJ Walsh. Glad to be here with you. Thankful that you're here with us on this October the 16th, Thursday, 2025. We're live on CKLU 96.7 FM on the radio, streaming live at cklu.ca. On the internet, we're also streaming live at facebook.com/Sudbury News, youtube.com/Sudbury News. Make sure to like, share, subscribe, and follow the channel and the page. We'll also be found on demand on those two platforms immediately following the show, along with x.com/Sudbury News and Sudbury.news, which is our local news aggregator. We're going to be taking our news from that aggregator this morning and also checking in with Sudbury.com. See what stories they have going on for the day. And then we're going to do a bit of a deep dive. I know we don't have much time today. We're late. We're a half a show in. We had a software update to do today, so that took a while. It is what it is. We're here and we're ready to go. Let's start off with a little bit of weather. And we'll be back with your comments, news headlines, and more right after the weather. Stay tuned. It's going to be a great show. Short but sweet. And Sudbury weather brought to you by SudburyWeather.ca. Currently -2 degrees Celsius out there. It is clear. Today we can expect it to be mainly sunny. Wind chill, high of 12, wind chill -5 this morning. But tonight, clearing, cloudiness. It's clear, but cloudiness near midnight, low of +3. And then tomorrow, cloudy. Showers beginning in the morning, just in time for Friday and the weekend. High of 10, UV index 1 or low. Cloudy with a 40% chance of showers overnight tomorrow. So as you can see there, the long range forecast. And then rain on Saturday, high of 16. Rain on Sunday, high of 14. 30% chance of showers on Monday with a high of 13. 60% chance of showers on Tuesday with a high of 10. 30% chance of showers on Wednesday. So a very wet outlook other than today. And that's your Sudbury weather brought to you by SudburyWeather.ca. We'll be back with news headlines, your comments, and more right after this. Okay, and thanks for sticking with us, everyone. And a good morning to all y'all who are on, and that includes Nana. First to YouTube, good morning. Blessings, everyone. Monique, good morning. Sudbury. Judy, good morning to you. Liette, good morning. And let's see, Hazel here, good morning to you. Marianne, good morning. From Barry, liked and shared as usual. Good morning to you, Larry. And Miles, I was going to say you're early this morning, but we're late, so I guess you're right on time. Good morning. Breaking news. Canada's auto industry is collapsing as Stellantis leaving 3,000 jobs behind in Brampton because they're making a multi-billion-dollar investment in the United States. So goodbye to 3,000 jobs. Elbows up. Larry, you mean... oh... Yes, for sure. I guess Brampton has got the nickname Bramladesh because of all of the immigrants living there now, and it is true. It's a a very immigrant-heavy city. And so 3,000 jobs leaving Brampton this morning, going to the United States. I wonder if that's good news for Canada or bad. Is that what the people who voted Mark Carney in were hoping for? And Maurice, good morning to you. And also Denise, blessings, everyone. So thanks for being with us, everyone. So yeah, that is true. That's on the Canadian front, losing 3,000 jobs. And with that, let's see if I got something on that right away. I thought I did. But let's see here. There's that. There's also a... Conservatives won a majority in Newfoundland. So Mario here to tell us all about that, which is, according to CBC, they didn't even have a chance, but then they won a majority. So that's interesting how that works.
And it's starting to happen. Newfoundland just elected a conservative majority government. This is a liberal stronghold. They've had that for nearly a decade. The conservatives there just came through. People are starting to realize that the policies that the liberals in general are putting out, whether it's at the provincial level or at the federal level, have been catastrophic failures. Guys, it's happening. And I can already see the conversations shifting against Mark Carney and people realizing he led us down this path of a lie. That he's the best person to go against Donald Trump. That he's the person that will make our economy better. Well, guess what? Stellantis just announced a record investment, the biggest they've ever done, ever in their history, in the US, and they're shifting production away from Brampton. Food prices in Canada are up by more than 40% when you compare against the US. We still do not have a deal with the US. And Mark Carney turned around and told us, hey guys, we already have the best deal in the world. Like, what? Do you see the hypocrisy? The shift is happening. Be patient, my friends. People are starting to wake up.
Yeah, it's just people are starting to wake up. We heard that before, but let's say the Liberals just get another leader again and then they'll just vote the new leader in because there's a new leader in the Liberal Party and people vote according to their team and anything their team does. I don't know. What is it going to take to have change in the country? I have no idea. Some people, I remember a friend of mine posting a Mark Carney cat video. Just he's in some kind of shelter with a cat and he goes, "This is my man." And I'm like, wow. And that poses a question. So I used to do this a lot too. I said, name one good thing that Justin Trudeau has done other than having good hair or being good looking or legalizing marijuana, because a lot of people looked at that as a good thing. I myself don't. But that was the only thing people could come up with. So the new question will be, name one good thing Mark Carney has done for Canada since being Prime Minister, because there's all these myths about what he did before, and that's what got him in there in the first place. And they are myths, by the way. So name one good thing he's done for Canada since he's been in there. It doesn't look like he's having a good track record so far. I can name a lot of things that are going negative, including this 3,000 jobs going to the United States from Brampton. Good morning, Belinda. Strength does not come from whining or winning, as you say. Strength does not come from winning or whining. Your struggles develop your strengths when you go through hardships and decide not to surrender. That is a strength. Persistence, resilience. Keep at it. Be like a glacier and just keep going forward, even if it's slow. Good morning, Pat. Thanks for being on. And Melanie Jolie is trying to sue them. Oh, sure, whatever. This is weird times we live in. Denise says we're about to enter a phase of radical Islam, as well as a world upside down. The next 5 years are going to be hell. We haven't seen anything yet, and I can't disagree with you there. And good morning to Logic B CJ, it looks like. Good morning to you. And Larry, yes, it's all East Indian in Brampton. They're investing money in the United States, not only to take from Canada, now they're investing in a different country. So what you're referring to, I think, is so someone will come to Canada from another country, work here, make good money or whatever, and then not really keep the money in Canada, but send a lot of the money back home to country of origin. And so a lot of the money that's made from here doesn't get reinvested back in. It goes to another country. Remember back in 2020 when the Looney Tune tinfoil hatters kept ranting that the pandemic would eventually lead to a digital ID and a social credit system? How did they know that? Why did we shun them instead of listening to them or hearing them out? So Noah was ridiculous and vilified the entire time he spent building the ark. Looney Tune tinfoil hatter. Then it started to rain. Learn to swim. That's from Trevor. Thank you very much for that, Trevor. Very poignant and very well said and very agreed with on my part. Thanks for that. So let's just dive right in. We got a few local stories here to get to, and then we want to do a bit of a deep dive this morning into, and good morning, Vin. Thanks for being with us. Much appreciated, you being on. We have, we're going to be talking about MAID today as the government's answer to all the mayhem. So that way we can, instead of just making the country better, we can just choose to get rid of ourselves and don't put any more strain on society, so to speak. Right? So, coming from Sudbury Star here, a couple of headlines, one of which... you remember the fallout in Glencore? So Public Health Sudbury and District said based on what the officials know so far, there are no health risks, but they're going to have a talk about it on... Sorry. No, they're not going to have anything. I thought they were going to have some kind of symposium on that, but it doesn't look like it. It looks like I kind of misread it. I thought they were going to have a public kind of inquiry or public discussion about it, but they're not. Okay, so also the colleges have come to a tentative agreement. This is coming from the Sudbury Star. The Sudbury Police Board approved a lean budget for 2026-2027. You can read more about that from our news aggregator or on Sudbury Star's website. And sticking with the police, Sudbury police are to arrest people openly using drugs if and when needed. Sudbury police say they began arresting people openly using drugs. They will begin to arrest people openly using drugs downtown if necessary. At Wednesday's Police Services Board meeting, the chief said officers will continue to take a support first, enforcement last approach, but will start enforcing laws against open drug use where needed. Now, this is the kind of country we're turning into now, everyone. And Ronald, good morning to you. Thanks for being on. This is the kind of country we're moving into, and here's a Sudbury-centric story to demonstrate it. We have laws, but laws are only enforced for certain people and not for other people, and certain laws are enforced sometimes and not other times, and new laws are being created and people don't know really what's going on, and that creates uncertainty in the country and people start losing confidence in our system. And when that happens, basically the whole fabric of our society starts coming undone. So you might say, how are you getting that from just that one story? Well, it's because we do our best on this story to connect those dots in our country. You know, and we will do a little bit of that this morning as we talk about MAID. You probably don't know much about MAID, or you maybe do, but Redacted is talking about that very thing. And good morning, Andrew. Thanks for being on. Redacted, it's a independent news show out of the United States, but they have their, they do a lot of Canadian stories, and this isn't any different here. So this is part of what our country's doing, and part of why we're releasing all these bills like Bill C-2, Bill C-8, Bill C-9, the Online Harms Act. It's all to stop this type of information from getting out, is what I'm thinking, because they got to do something about it, because it's so apparent what they're doing. And as you listen to this, listen to maybe why would you think Canada has such a strong MAID program, and we're going medical assistance in dying, that is, and why are we so hell-bent on making it bigger and badder and better? Anyways, here you go. Here's some Redacted.
Well, Canada has crossed an ethical Rubicon by harvesting organs from assisted suicide. This is Canada's MAID program. We've been talking about it for years. Recently, the first heart transplant was transplanted from a euthanized person into a 59-year-old American man with heart failure. Now, this is not the first organ that was harvested from the MAID program, but it is the first heart. Now, we're going to get to all of the many ethical issues in a second, but first, one of them is national. How did an American man get access to this heart? Well, according to reports, the organs are supposed to be allocated to a wait list and supposed to go first to patients in Ontario and then wider Canada before it can be offered to the U.S. So are you telling me that no other Canadian needed a heart? That this person volunteered to donate their heart and it went across American borders because there's no one in Canada who needed this? Well, that sounds statistically improbable, doesn't it? Canada has hundreds of patients on the cardiac transplant list at any time, according to the Canadian Institute for Health Information. As of late last year, about 190 Canadians were waiting for a heart transplant. So if I were Canadian, I would be very curious how an American skipped the line. Wouldn't you? Hearts are extremely scarce. Recipients wait years for a transplant. So for this heart to have not been needed by a single Canadian, that's strange. That sounds strange to me. It doesn't sound right. Now, think about the timing of this. This is also very concerning. The patient is told, hey, someone's willing to die for you and give you their heart. So you got to get your butt into surgery at the same time this person's dying, and you accept that ethical quandary. Yep. Okay, I'm going to take it. Now, look how they report this timing. They say that within 7 minutes of death, the team said, yep, that person's dead. We're all good. They carve him up. They have the heart transplanted across the border. 6 hours later in Pennsylvania, that heart's put into a new person. Now, I don't know about medical practices in Canada, but this short period of time, 7 minutes, gives me pause, especially after in America, HHS Director RFK Jr. released this report in July showing that U.S. hospitals have been harvesting organs from patients who were, in the words of Monty Python, not dead yet. This is that report. It showed that in the hundreds of cases that HHS reviewed of organ donations, nearly 1/3 of the patients were not fully dead yet when they started taking the organs. They showed, quote, neurological signs incompatible with organ donation. In other words, still alive. Now, we don't know if this is done in Canada, but it sure would give me pause if I had been signed up to be carved up for MAID. Harvesting of MAID organs is called ODE. It stands for Organ Donation After Euthanasia. And not surprisingly, Canada is the leader of ODE. A Dutch study indicated that of 286 instances leading up to MAID in 2021, 136 of them were Canadian. This was before MAID even got off the ground, before it was popular in 2021. And it is popular now. According to this official report from 2023, about 4.7% of Canadians who died in that given year died from MAID. That's, you guys, 1 in 21 deaths in Canada is from MAID.
That's insane.
1 in 21. These are
demonic.
official government statistics. Now, when I heard that, I was like, oh, someone's extrapolating. No, that's government data, which means it's probably conservative.
Right. It's probably worse than that.
Yeah.
Oh, you're feeling depressed. Why don't you consider MAID so you can, kill yourself?
Well, MAID is not supposed to be offered to people with mental health as their only condition. We're going to talk about that a little bit more because even people who support MAID have objected to organ harvesting from euthanized people because it creates this risk of death coercion, which indeed there is evidence of that. People who don't even have terminal illness have been informed about MAID from their doctors. And imagine a system, we have it, where vulnerable people are talked into dying so that their healthy organs can be passed on to the wealthy. That is the dystopic reality we're living in. And it raises disturbing questions. Canada sells us like we like MAID because we're all about compassion here. We don't want people to suffer. Let's give them a compassionate way out. But you have to wonder, was it ever really about compassion, or was it destined to serve this institutional convenience, namely a pipeline for organs, budgets, bureaucratic efficiency designed and sold as mercy? I've been thinking about this a lot lately. Doctors don't learn to do things unless they can do it at scale, meaning it's profitable. So there is clearly a profit motive behind MAID. Do you wish that you could have that Genucel's MDL technology for healthy young girls? 100% of your money back, no questions asked. You get 120 days money back guarantee if you don't like it. So order now. And before we end this segment, I'd like to give you this update on the Canadian government's efforts to extend MAID not only to people with a mental illness as their only condition for MAID, and minors. Now, currently, MAID is supposed to exclude people under 18 and people who only want to die due to mental illness. And we've shown you the documents before, how they also include in mental distress, poverty. You're upset about your own poorness. You could die. You could, maybe raise yourself up by your bootstraps, or you could die. But the government has proposed changing this so that people under 18 and the mentally ill can apply for MAID and just die if they want to. Now, this document we showed you in February of 2024, it put those changes on hold until 2027. Now, they did this because they don't have medical guidelines to support it. So they had this special joint committee on MAID sessions, and not a single practicing psychiatrist or physician came forward to testify in favor of killing people with mental illness or minors. Not one. So the government said, well, then they didn't say, okay, then we won't do it. They said, let's put this off for 3 years and try later.
And by the way, they'll sneak it in. They're going to sneak it in next time. It won't get as much headlines, and they'll slide it right in.
Yeah, well, take a look at how they said. They said we need more time to come up with supports, guidelines, and standards. They don't have them. They want to create them. They're literally giving themselves until 2027 to make euthanasia for minors and the mentally ill look medically acceptable. So they're going to have to find some Frankenstein doctor who will sign off on this for the whole country. Now, another underreported bit of this is that they also want to write the laws so that if they do extend this to minors, they would exclude the parents from this decision, meaning they wouldn't even notify the parents that their child has signed up for euthanasia. Can you imagine? Your child applies to die, is granted this by the government, and it's totally out of your hands. That's a nightmare. So the Canadian government continues to insist, again, that MAID is about compassion. It's clearly not about compassion for the parents or family members or even the donor, given that you only get 7 minutes before your organs now no longer belong to you. And everything looks like this is just perfecting death on a schedule. And now even training doctors to supply the organs and expanding the clientele to the young and the mentally ill. At what point, you guys, do we stop calling this assistance and call it what it is.
People want me to give my Canadian salute like I gave last week, which is the big middle finger to Canada.
Right.
I won't do that, but I will point out also the fentanyl deaths, Vancouver specifically, and this was linked to this as well. MAID managed to now partner with a lot of these fentanyl deaths in these young people because younger organs are far more attractive, right? So it's not.
So that's true as well. So we are getting people who are struggling in our country with addiction, and as soon as they're in the late stages of life, their organs are harvested as well and put on the market. So these are dangerous things that are going on in our country that you need to be aware of. And I just wanted to thank Natalie Labby for chiming in, and she wanted to let us know that they are having a public meeting tonight about the fallout from Glencore. And it's tonight in Falconbridge. And she said it was at, I believe, 6:30 in Falconbridge, 5:30 tonight. Glencore meeting, public information meeting in Falconbridge at 5:30 p.m. I thought there was something to do with that, and I'm glad that Natalie had informed me of that over Messenger. Thank you very much. Ward 7 Councillor Natalie Labby. I'm not sure why this is not, I'll just close it then. And also, here's an expert from Canada talking about MAID with Jordan Peterson in an interview about how MAID is performed. Like, what do they use in order to perform MAID when they say that it's, to do with compassion for people that are struggling, and it's to have them have a dignified way of dying. But this way of method that they use doesn't sound very dignified, and it sounds very painful and torturous.
So I'd love the opportunity to talk about it because it's really concerning to me. So it's not only that it's MAID. People don't understand how MAID works. There's the track 1, the track 2, the immediate, the 90-day to end of life, and all of that. And yes, they stayed the bill till 2027 to the next vote, right? So that's all great. So technically mental health's not included. But what I found out yesterday that really, really bothered me was the mechanism of the actual procedure. So there's this drug called sodium ferropental, and it's made in Italy, okay? So it's used by anesthesiologists. And the anesthesiologist that came forward with this at this testimony was, this individual had been an anesthesiologist for 25 years. He came forward with the Senate subcommittee talking about this with MAID and his concerns with it, because MAID is being seen as compassionate and empathetic in care. So what he did is...
the Nazi euthanasia program started with compassion and care, right?
I'm so glad you said that, because when I got to do trigonometry, we went to the war museums, and what terrified me the most was walking through the World War II portion and seeing the same verbiage.
Yeah, it's the same thing. Yeah, definitely.
People were telling me I was going crazy. I'm like, no, you don't understand.
No, it's the same thing.
It's identical.
Yeah, it's exactly the same thing.
The mentally ill, the people that are, So what's really...
People too distressed to live.
Thank you.
Right, and the categories keep expanding.
And that's what we're seeing, the expansion. So the sodium thiopental, which was really wild about it, is this anesthesiologist was like, it's going missing. We don't have a lot of it. We can't get it anymore all of a sudden over this past couple of years. And so he started researching it. Well, it's made in Italy, and Italy falls under the EU. And under the EU laws, you can never make a drug that is going to be used for execution. But Canada, in North America, the United States and Canada had been using it for execution, in America for death penalty. So they finally caught on to that. And anesthesiologists use it as one of the first drugs pushed to put you under. But here's what's really crazy is they said, well, there's got to be more to this. So they did it's a Freedom of Information Act with the NPR, with a journalist, and they got over 300 autopsies of individuals who were executed in America. And they didn't just get the autopsy kind of overview, they were given in-depth files. And when they went through them, 85% of those bodies showed a 2 times level increase of water in the lungs. So what was happening is when this drug is pushed, it causes a drowning, and it's stated as akin to dying by waterboarding or drowning. Meaning, the reason people in Canada who are given MAID seem peaceful is because they're giving a paralytic first. So they're completely paralyzed, then this drug is administered as one of the 4, and they start drowning. to death.
So very shocking and terrible sounding. Now, I have to mention, after just listening to all this, that Dying with Dignity in Canada, the organization that promotes this, say that that's not true. And obviously, they have every reason to say it's not true, because that would totally, people would be outraged with this, right? So just to let you know, there's people that say this isn't true, but then that's up to you now. Unfortunately, that means we got to think. That means we have to do our own research. That means you have to take what this person said, and instead of canceling them and making laws to make people not be able to say things, so that way only one side can say things, you should hear two sides of the story and then go make your own decision. But unfortunately, our country is not going down that road. We're just going to cancel everybody who doesn't agree with the government's MAID program and say you're wrong and go ahead with it and put you in jail for disagreeing with it, right? Instead of allowing people like this to say what they're saying and then letting you go out and make your own decision. So that's all the time we got for the show today, unfortunately. However, we will be back, God willing, same time, same place, on the same platforms tomorrow. Remember to stay aware, like, share, take care. And we're going to let Rodney Norman give us our closing thought of the day. And God bless everyone. Have a great day. We'll be back same time, same place tomorrow.
Some days are just crap. It's just full of a bunch of just stupid nonsense, stupid crap. And that's okay. Because even if your day is crap, you're going to be okay. Plus, the crappy days make the really good days even better. So just remember, next time you're having a crappy day, don't worry about it. It'll be over. And then someday you'll have a really good day, and you'll go, hey, this is a really good day. If they're all really good, then none of them are good. So you gotta have some bad ones to just sort of even things out. So have a super freaking awesome crappy day. Okay, bye. Some days are just...
This is Sudbury News Talk on the morning shift.